fascinating, interesting debate show is live in the huddle.
Listen, I was watching the episode that myself and Zach did and the other episode that me and Zay did. Quite frankly, the last couple body of works that we've been putting out. And I'm saying to myself, bro, I wish I could get free content like that, as good as that, bro. I gotta watch my own stuff to get good content, bro. And this content is available for everybody for free. We don't charge nobody. We don't send in our cash apps or, Patreons or Patriot, whatever apps people use. I don't even know those apps. Okay, this is free. All you have to do is like and subscribe and feel the vibe. That's all you have to do. Like and subscribe to the channel and receive those updates. Because guess what? We've been pushing out content. All right, boy, about to go on vacation in Florida a couple days. As me, knowing the guy I am, I'm probably still going to be doing shows, but on the light side of things, you know what I'm saying? So definitely like and subscribe to get all those notifications of new uploaded content, free uploaded content, and great uploaded content. Unlike, some of these other shows like, oh yeah, I ain't say it. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. I got $1 in the dream. I'm going to pass it to Zay and see how Zay is doing today. Zay, how you doing today?
Hey, listen, man. I'm ecstatic. I know it's raining right now. I know a lot of people's day like, dag, it's raining. I got to go outside in this gloomy weather. Hey, the Mets won a doubleheader yesterday. I'm elated. I was happy as heck that they won that game. It was crazy. The first game was wild. The Braves they gave us a little run. And then a second game, Mets just took them out the water. Beautiful. I love it. And, I'm excited to be a Mets fan this year. They playing really hot, and I hope this hot pitching stays throughout the entirety of the season. It's tough to win every game, baseball game. You all know that. It's 162 games. It's very difficult to win every game. But if we could win every series, that would be crazy. That would be probably MLB history. I don't think any team has ever done that. So that would be crazy to see. But, we all good here. Everything's great, and I'm here to talk sports, and I love talking sports, man. I think this is the best time in the morning. Wake up, get some breakfast, and then just to get the call, like, yo, the show's coming on. I'm excited to talk about it. So I'm right now, I'm really looking forward to talking about some basketball because of what happened last night, what transpired. I think everyone who's able to watch the game or able to watch the highlights this morning will be definitely interested in some takes that will be happening on today. So, without further ado, Lil, let's start it.
Look, bro, the Mets is doing good, as I stated before. I want to see Zay do the wave again, bro. I think it's always a good vibe when Zay's out here doing the wave at the Mets game. And one thing about rain, okay, let's move on to rain here. I don't like rain, bro. I really despise rain, especially when I got to go out. If I'm inside doors, they don't bother me. I'll just take a nap, turn on the Netflix and Leel, not Netflix and chill by myself, Netflix and Leel, okay, with the rain going on. I just hate rain when I got to go out and commute. I just hate it. But anyway, I don't got to go out and commute, at least right now at this very moment, because guess what? We got a show to complete, and we doing it right now on this episode 245, and Ja Morant drops a 47-point game to lead the Grizzlies past the Warriors and ties the series 1-1. Did the Grizzlies break the code with their Game 2 antics? And you know what? Cut right to the point. They broke the code, bro. I believe so. The reason why I think they broke the code is for a plethora of reasons. First of all, let me start off by saying that Game 1, winner of Game 1 was a team with a championship DNA. The winner of Game 2 was the team that was determined to win the game by any means. And when I mean by any means, you know what I mean by any means, whether it be some of the guys just showing out like Ja Morant, right? Or whether it's, being physical and trying to take out the other guys on the other team. By any means, determination, we will win this game. That's who won Game 2. Now, look, we all know that play on Dillon Brooks on Gary Payton, as Gary Payton was trying to go to the rim. He got whacked on the head. Clearly was a dirty play. You know what Gary Payton means to this team. This guy, from a defensive standpoint, he just recently moved into the starting lineup, so clearly they see value in that guy. We all know he can do defensively. He can cut to the basket. Some of the things and little nuances that the Warriors like, guys that cut to the rim. And we also know if there's any capable defender that can tame and just slow down Ja Morant, is Gary Payton. That guy's not there anymore. And I think not that the Grizzlies strategically had a plan. We talking about the Grizzly gate here, like the Bonnie gate to get the Warriors out of here. But I do think that in the heat of the moment, there was some dirty tactics where these players didn't have no regards for careers, no regards for just having that moral code of just playing the game freely. If this happened in East New York at your local park, shots would have rang out. Okay, shots would have rang out. It would have been an all-out war. Okay, it would have been balling for life, like my guy Zay will say, not balling for peace. Okay, shout out to my guy who won Hard Rave. Okay, so yeah, I do think that they broke the code. Nevertheless, I got bad news for the Grizzlies as I pull up these stats, because you know what? The only thing that's going to do is egg on a team that really don't need to be egg on in the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors is a team with championship DNA, and the one thing you don't want to do is wake up the beast, and I think they will wake up the beast. I mean, who are we kidding? The Warriors shooting the ball last night was terrible. I mean, let's go to these numbers real quickly here, because the Splash Brothers went from the Splash Brothers to the Sinking Brothers. These guys were sinking with their shots. Let's go to it. Curry and Klay Thompson combined to shoot for 5 of 23 from 3, which shows, in our honest opinion, that they can still generate offense, first of all, because they should have won this game. And the fact that they both shot 5 of 23 and was able to keep this team afloat, the team was able to stay afloat, shows you all the little things and ways that the Warriors can score the basket, whether it's attacking the rim, getting backdoor looks and cutting, or whatever it is to get the points on the board. They're willing to do that. Another thing that I want to add, if I might add, the Warriors in general went 7 for 38, which is the worst shooting night since Curry has been drafted to the NBA. I say it again. Klay Thompson needs to break out of his slump. Clearly, we thought he found his mojo back towards the end of the regular season, and I thought that he was going to bring that in the playoffs. It's not the first time I've seen Klay Thompson in the playoffs struggle. There was a couple years ago when they went on that finals run where he was struggling, and then he got his mojo back. Shoot is shoot. That's what they do. And I think when you go home and the Warriors come back with a split back to Oracle, those same shots will fall inside the hoop. So you know what? Yes, they broke the code, the Grizzlies, and I think it's going to backfire down the stretch.
Yeah, so to answer this question, I don't believe the Grizzlies broke the excuse me. Dillon Brooks definitely broke the code regarding keeping players healthy on the court and playing, of course. I think Dillon Brooks should have known that he wasn't getting that block. He was nowhere near him. And then if he wanted to really foul him, he would have given him a hard foul before the takeoff. So that it was just two nuances that when we saw the play, it wasn't a basketball play. And on top of that, unfortunately, Gary Payton got hurt. I don't think he purposely meant to hurt him, but he wanted to deliver a hard foul nonetheless. I think he did it in a very dangerous way. And I think that's something that's going to be talked about within that locker room, about delivering hard fouls if wanting to give one. You're supposed to swipe down at the guy's arms as hard as you can, not swipe down his face and potentially get that guy extremely hurt. We saw a lot of hits to the face yesterday. I think another one was Andrew Wiggins, Brandon Clark. He kind of tried to eye gouge Wiggins and push his face off. They called it a common foul. And then the hit that got Draymond Green in his eye that wound up, really hurting him. It looks like an orbital fracture to me because his eye was swollen. It looked really bad. And I don't know what the diagnostic was after that play, or after the game, of course, for Draymond, but it looked bad. It looked like a really bad
eye injury. He fought Canelo. That's what he looked like. He fought Canelo.
So it was bad to say the least. But I think when you look at this Grizzlies team, they have to play extremely aggressive because the guys who were playing extremely well last series are not playing well. Brooks, he came out the game because of that foul, so he was out for the majority of the game, if not all of the game. And Desmond Bane, second game in a row, under 10 points. So, you look at Ja Morant, heroics, where he had an outstanding shooting night, shooting 5 from 12 from the three-point line, 15 from 31 from the field. He had an extreme night. But how often can you rely on him having extremely good nights? Back-to-back great nights, 36 first night, 47 the next night. If you're expecting Ja Morant to just keep scoring 40 and 50, you're going to have a long series because that's not what this Grizzlies team is kind of made of. Their team is it's comprised of a lot of guys, Ja Morant included, talented guys who combined score a lot of points. With Jaren Jackson not scoring that much, I think outside of Ja Morant, nobody else scored over 15 points. So that's not something you rely on, especially this Warriors team who did shoot horrendous, not only from the 3-point line, but also from the free throw, missing 4 free throws, also having 3 less free throw attempts than the Grizzlies. This Warriors team, they're going to shoot better on different multiple nights. So you got to expect them to have better shooting nights moving forward, opposed to you just kind of relying on Ja Morant to score all your points. So I think this game was just a very unfortunate game. A lot of injuries happened. People got kicked out the game. A lot of missed shots from both sides. But I think Game 3 in Oracle Arena, if I believe that's the name now, in Golden State's home court, is going to be very different. The environment's going to be extremely different, and that's like kind of their boost where they start shooting lights out, and especially in the playoffs. So I expect Klay to have a bounce-back game. We hope to see Desmond Bane have a bounce-back game because his first 2 games were definitely horrendous, to say the least, at home. So hopefully he could turn up on the road and give us that 20-point barrage that he was giving us that last series. So I think this series is far from over, of course. I think it's got really interesting to see how this game will be officiated moving forward because of the aggressive play. I can see a lot more foul calls being called early on to prevent injuries that just happened, that we just witnessed. So I think both teams are going to be in some foul trouble, to say the least, because of everything that has transpired so far.
And I think if you're the Grizzlies, bro, I don't know. I think they're trying to find every way that they can beat this Warriors team. And I think one of the tactics that possibly may be used is to get Draymond Green out of character, even though most of the times you can argue he is out of character a lot. But get him out of character. He's very close to being suspended, okay, and missing a game. I think when you look at his antics in Game 1, with that foul that I don't believe was a flagrant 2 to this day, but some people do. It is what it is. He got the call. That's on his resume. That's on his record. When you saw him in the last game where he was just throwing the middle finger up to the fans, I would be shocked if he gets suspended for that. I really would be. But a fine possibly. I think for Memphis to have a chance is to get into the head of Draymond Green, the heart and soul of this team. When he's not focused on basketball and he's focused on everything else, whether it be the referees, making calls, whether it be the crowd, chirping, if he's not focused on the game and you can get him off his spot and get him out of character and potentially allow him to miss a game, then the Grizzlies will have a chance, especially if the Warriors, which always been their Achilles heel, turn the ball over. 18 times they turn the ball over here. We all know they lack of size. That's a disadvantage, 2 disadvantages, and poor shooting, which is the 3rd disadvantage. Now, I don't think the poor shooting is going to stick, and that's why ultimately the Warriors will take care of these Grizzlies. But if it does, which I doubt, but if it does, there's always that slight possibility that it could happen. If you have these 3 issues, it's a wrap. But I doubt it. I believe once they get back to Oracle, they'll see those shots fall, and then they will bring it on the road to close out the Grizzlies. The one thing I want to say, though, because I got to give Ja Morant his jurisdiction due before I even give the cue to go to the commercial break.
Gotcha.
I always say Ja lives in the paint. That's my line. Ja lives. Ja lives in the paint. But the first 2 games, this guy been living from the arc.
Correct.
Okay, and he made 5 threes in Game 2. Now, I'm not a fool to think that he's going to continue to knock down these shots from behind the arc on a consistent basis. That's just not his game right now, at least. But, man, if he continues to knock down these shots, it's going to make it nearly impossible to stop the dude because we all know the amount of pressure that he puts driving to the rack. If he can make the Warriors destroy them from the arc, it's going to be a hard task, and he can put up the games that you say he is unlikely to do, 38 and 47. He can have those type of games more consistently if he can knock down those shots from behind the arc more consistently. And I think the Warriors dared him to do so, and that's why he's been taking them. Now, do the Warriors respect the shot now? Do they go into Game 3 and 4 respecting the shot? That's my little thoughts on the game. I thought it was a great game. I think this is the best series by far in this second round of the playoffs. I expected it on paper, but I expected it in different reasons. I expected it more so of Curry versus Ja, the old school versus the new school, and you got Steph Curry, who's been this transcendent talent, and you got another transcendent talent, different games. And I was looking at it from that perspective, the point guard versus the point guy that changed the league forever. But it's more so the physical play, that's going on, and other guys stepping up at times. Jordan Poole stepped up in game 1. Jaren Jackson stepped up in game 1. I mean, we've seen a whole lot of other stuff other than Steph Curry and Ja Morant as that headline, and I think it makes for an interesting finish.
I think when we talk about, real quick, just like a quick segment, I want to say that the Grizzlies team is known for discipline on defense and aggressive defense. They don't really cause that many fouls opposed to Jaren Jackson Jr. Their team is usually disciplined enough to stay in the game and knowing what they need to do. I think right now you hit it on the nail that their aggression is like they're showing their aggression, but I think it's uncontrolled. I think they're just showing aggression without really thinking about making a proper play or acknowledging that it's hindering them from actually winning, putting themselves in winning positions and situations. I think last night, towards the ending of the game, their aggression was keen. It was disciplined. They were able to pinpoint exactly what they needed to do to win the game, but they did get away with a lot of push-offs on rebounds. And I think they're going into that next game, it's gonna be their low point. That's gonna be the reason why they lose game 3 if they continue to play overly aggressive. I think they're gonna go into Oracle Arena with that same mentality of just aggression. And I think that's going to cost them the game, unfortunately, just because it's getting uncontrolled. It's getting to the point where the refs are going to be looking for every little thing to blow the whistle. That's going to cause them to, unfortunately, rather A, play less aggressive, which is their downside, or B, foul out the game. All the star guys are all going to foul out the game or get them in early foul trouble, which gives the Warriors a lot more free throws than their game 2, which they only had 18. But like I said, the series is gearing up really well. I'm liking the way both teams are playing, but like you stated in your previous take, I don't know how much you want to poke the bear and really see what Clay and Curry could really do.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think we could leave that there. The only point that I add, and I actually add a question behind that point, is that's my thing about how I started off my take, and Leel come into play, man. I mean, look, it's about determination, right? They wanted every way they can win this game 2. They had to go to the end to win this game 2. And they was willing to pull out every trick in the book, whether it be physical play, whether it be a whole lot of nuances they was willing to pull. But that's game 2. And that was your game plan to win game 2, and it worked. But I don't think as the game gets called differently and the reps are watching everything that you can get away with that. And it's going to come down to the other guys not named Ja. Anyway, I'll lob this question to you.
Okay.
Do the Grizzlies steal a game at Oracle in these next 2 games?
I don't think so. I think they said their game was in Memphis. Unfortunately, they need to win 2. I think their loss that first game really messed them up, and I think they're going to lose 2 in Oracle just because of how game 2, the outcome of game 2 happened. You had an injured player. You have 2 injured players essentially on the Warriors side, so the refs are going to be definitely looking for overly aggressive Grizzlies players going into that next game. It's just going to happen. Unfortunately, you had a flagrant 2, and then you guys just kept on hitting above the neck on multiple occasions in that game. So they're going to be looking out for that in game 3 and 4, which is going to be the downside for the Grizzlies, which will cost them both game 3 and 4, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be 3-1 going back into Memphis for game 5.
Another question, last question here. Sorry to keep you up, my brother. Got to give you this interview here. Dillon Brooks, will he get a suspension, or is it just a fine? If any,
it's a fine. I think, because I don't think he has multiple flagrant 2s this season. I think it's just a fine. So I think he's going to be back for, at least in my opinion, I think he will be back for game 3 and 4. But like I just said, it's just going to be they're right now they're playing at a disadvantage because their best asset and may be neutralized due to the fact that they may not be able to play as aggressive as they want going into game 3 and 4. I think throughout the season, during the duration of the season, most of the games that the Grizzlies lost was because they were unable to play as aggressive as they wanted throughout the entirety of the game. So I think right now they're going to be in a disadvantage going into 3 and 4 because their aggression from game 2 was uncontrolled. It looked at times really wild, and it wasn't basketball plays at all, which will cause them game 3 and 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after these brief messages. The Panthers may still add Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, or Nick Foles. Which quarterback should the Panthers take a chance on out of this group? Zay, I lob that question right up to you.
The Can You Dig It Sports Radio Network is here. Revolutionize the game of media. Be a dig.